Speak confidently anywhere. Have you ever walked into a room, opened your mouth to speak, and suddenly your confidence packed its bags and left you standing there alone? Because if you have good news, you're not broken, you're human. And today I'm going to show you how to speak so confidently you command any room, any stage, any group, anywhere in the world. Confidence doesn't start when you open your mouth. It starts long before the first word is spoken. People often think speaking confidently is all about having the perfect vocabulary, the strongest voice, or the smartest ideas. But the truth is far simpler and far more powerful. Your energy walks into the room before you do. The moment you enter a space, before anyone hears what you have to say, they're already forming an impression based on how you carry yourself. And that impression becomes the foundation on which your confidence is built. Imagine two people entering the same room. One walks in with small steps, eyes on the floor, shoulders slightly curved inwards. The other enters upright, breathing slowly, shoulders relaxed, but strong, eyes lifted. No words spoken. Yet the entire room already knows who feels ready and who doesn't. It's not because one is better than the other. It's because one understands that the body is the first microphone. Your posture speaks volumes before your voice does. When you shift your body, you shift your emotional state. This is why athletes take powerful stances before competing, why performers breathe deeply backstage, and why leaders ground themselves physically before addressing a group. If you walk into a space as if you belong there, your mind begins to believe you do. Confidence isn't a magical trait reserved for a chosen few. It's a physical habit that anyone can build. Start with something simple. Stand tall. Feel your feet firmly planted. Uncurl your spine. Relax your jaw. Pull your shoulders slightly back, not stiff, just open. Take one slow inhale and one slower exhale. This single moment signals to your brain, I am safe. I am ready. I am in control. People often underestimate the connection between physical state and vocal strength. When you walk with tension or shrink your posture, your breath becomes shallow, your voice weakens, and your mind starts doubting you. But when your body opens up, your breath deepens naturally. With deeper breath comes stronger sound, clearer tone, and calmer thoughts. Your voice stops trembling because your body stops trembling. Another powerful shift happens in your eyes. When you raise your gaze, you tell the world and yourself that you're not hiding. Eye contact doesn't just make others feel connected. It makes you feel grounded. The moment you look up, you claim your space, and people respond to that energy instantly. Whether you're speaking to one person, a small group, or a full audience, remember that your presence sets the tone long before your message does. When you step into a room with intention, people lean in. When your posture communicates confidence, people trust you. And when your energy declares you belong there, your words become twice as powerful the moment you speak them. Most people think confident speakers were simply born fearless, as if they arrived on this planet with nerves made of steel and zero hesitation running through their veins. But that is one of the biggest misconceptions about confidence. The truth is, even the most powerful speakers, leaders, and communicators feel nervous before they speak. Their heart beats faster. Their palms get warm. Their stomach tightens. The difference is not that they avoid fear, it's that they manage it. They don't wait for fear to disappear before taking action. They choose to step forward with the fear and transform it into fuel. When you think about fear, your mind instantly labels it as something negative. Your heartbeat increases. I'm panicking. Your breath gets shallow. I'm losing control. Your hands shake. I'm not ready. But what if those same physical signals were interpreted differently? What if instead of thinking you're scared, you told yourself, this is energy. This is excitement. This is my body preparing me to perform. Your biology doesn't actually know the difference between fear and excitement. The sensations are nearly identical. The meaning you attach to them is what changes everything. Great speakers master this mental shift. They don't resist the nervousness, they reframe it. And when you reframe nerves as readiness, something extraordinary happens. Your energy becomes sharper, your focus becomes clearer, and your voice gains power. Your body gives you adrenaline not to embarrass you, but to help you rise to the moment. Nerves are your body saying this matters. Instead of trying to eliminate fear, practice controlling your breath. Deep breathing is not just a relaxation technique. It is the remote control for your nervous system. With every slow inhale and long exhale, your body comes back under your command. And when your breath stabilizes, your voice follows effortlessly. That's why the best speakers don't rush onto the stage. They pause, breathe, ground themselves, and then begin. Another strategy is to focus on your message rather than your performance. When you obsess about yourself, how you look, how you sound, what people might think your fear grows louder. But when your attention shifts to the value you're about to give, the fear loses its grip. You stop thinking about being judged and start thinking about being useful. Confidence grows naturally when your purpose becomes stronger than your fear. So don't aim to be fearless. Aim to be someone who feels fear and speaks anyway. Let those butterflies fly in the same direction. Let the shaking become strength. The moment you stop fighting nerves and start working with them, you unlock a version of yourself you didn't even know existed, one that is bold, grounded, and capable of speaking confidently anywhere. When people think about speaking confidently, they often imagine projecting their voice across an entire room, addressing a group with perfect clarity, or capturing the attention of every single person at once. And that's exactly where the pressure begins. The idea of speaking to everyone creates a mental weight so heavy that it crushes your natural confidence. But here's the real secret confident speakers already know. You don't speak to the whole room, you speak to one person at a time. The moment you stop seeing a crowd and start seeing individuals, everything becomes easier. When you walk into a room full of faces, your brain does something very predictable. It panics. It sees a group as a threat. Too many eyes, too many judgments, too much possibility for mistakes. That's why your mind goes blank, your mouth dries, and you suddenly forget every smart thing you plan to say. But the moment you mentally reduce that crowd to one human being, the pressure drops instantly. You've spoken to one person thousands of times in your life. You know how to do that. It's familiar. It's safe. Confidence grows from connection, not from performance. If you look at an audience and treat them like a single entity, you lose the human element. But if you focus your energy on one person, a face that seems engaged, curious, or simply attentive, you create a bridge. You make eye contact with them. You speak as though the message is meant just for them. And suddenly your tone softens, your words become clearer, and your presence becomes natural. You're no longer presenting, you're conversing. That connection does something powerful. It grounds you. It reminds you that you're not speaking to strangers. You're speaking to people who want to understand, people who want you to do well, people who relate to you more than you think. Once you feel stable with one person, you can shift your eyes to another, then another, creating a rhythm of mini conversations within your larger message. This technique not only calms your nerves, but also makes your entire audience feel included because each person senses they are being spoken to directly. The beauty of this approach is that it makes your presence feel intimate. Even if the room is full, people don't remember fancy vocabulary or perfect posture as much as they remember feeling seen. When you direct your message toward individual faces rather than an overwhelming crowd, your voice becomes more sincere, your body language relaxes, and your mind stops racing with anxiety. You step out of performance mode and into connection mode, which is the most powerful place a speaker can operate from. So instead of waiting to feel ready to speak to an entire room, just focus on one human connection at a time. Speak to someone, not everyone, and watch how the entire room begins to respond to you like you're speaking directly to them. One of the most misunderstood elements of confident speaking is silence. Most people are terrified of it. They rush through their words, fill every gap with noise, and speak as if they're afraid that a single pause will make them look unprepared or insecure. But the truth is the opposite. Silence is not a weakness. It is one of the most powerful communication tools you will ever use. The pause is where confidence breathes, where meaning lands, and where your presence becomes undeniable. When you speak without pausing, you don't sound confident, you sound panicked. Your words blend together, your message loses clarity, and your audience struggles to keep up. But when you intentionally allow silence into your speech, something remarkable happens. The entire room leans in. People listen more carefully. They feel the weight of your words instead of letting them slip past like background noise. A pause is the space where your message sinks into the mind of the audience. Silence doesn't just influence the audience, it influences you. When you pause, you give your brain a moment to reset. Instead of stumbling over thoughts or rushing because of nerves, you regain control. A pause allows you to breathe literally. And breath is the foundation of a strong voice. When you pause, inhale and exhale with intention, your tone becomes steadier, your pace becomes smoother, and your entire presence feels more grounded. Think about powerful speakers, leaders, or storytellers you admire. They rarely rush. They speak with rhythm, with intention, with emotion. They allow silence to shape the message. When they pause, it never looks like they forgot what to say. It looks like they meant to stop. That's the beauty of mastering the pause. Even when you're thinking, it appears intentional. Confidence isn't about speaking non-stop. It's about speaking with purpose. Pauses also give your audience a chance to emotionally connect with what you're saying. When you tell a story or share an important insight, silence gives listeners a moment to picture it, feel it, and relate to it. Without a pause, your message passes too quickly to take hold. With a pause, it becomes vivid and memorable. Another hidden benefit of pausing is authority. People instinctively trust speakers who are not in a hurry. Someone who rushes seems unsure. Someone who pauses seems certain. Silence communicates that your words matter so much so that you're willing to let them stand on their own for a moment. You appear calm, collected, and fully in control. Many people fear silence because they assume the audience will judge them. But in reality, the audience appreciates it. Pauses make them feel respected. It shows you're not just throwing words at them. You're speaking to them, giving them time to absorb, understand, and connect. So when you speak, don't rush to fill every moment with sound. Let silence do some of the heavy lifting. A well-placed pause can transform a simple sentence into something powerful, meaningful, and unforgettable. Silence is not empty. It is full of presence, authority, and confidence. And when you learn to embrace it, you speak like someone who truly belongs anywhere. When you speak, people may forget the facts you share, the statistics you mention, or even the clever lines you prepare, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And nothing creates emotional impact faster or deeper than a story. Stories are the heartbeat of human communication. They bypass logic and go straight to emotion. They pull people into your world, make them see what you see, feel what you feel, and understand your message on a level that information alone can never reach. Think about the last time someone told you a story that stuck with you. Maybe it made you laugh, maybe it inspired you, maybe it even changed how you see yourself. That moment didn't stay in your mind because it was perfectly structured, it stayed because it was human. Stories remind us that behind every message is a real person with real experiences. When you share a story, you're not just delivering content, you're creating connection. You're letting people into your life, your thoughts, your emotions, and in return, they open up to you. Confidence in speaking doesn't come from sounding impressive. It comes from being relatable. A story does exactly that. Even a simple moment from your life can draw people in more effectively than a long explanation. You don't need an extraordinary experience to tell a powerful story. You only need honesty, detail, and emotion. Describe what you saw, what you felt, what you thought. Give your audience a picture, not just a point. The more vivid the image, the more deeply your message lands. Stories also make complicated ideas feel simple. If you're trying to explain a concept and people look confused, share a story. Suddenly, the idea becomes clear. People learn best through examples, not instruction. When you wrap your message inside a story, your words stop being abstract and start being real. A story turns advice into something touchable, memorable, and meaningful. And here's something most speakers underestimate. Stories make you more confident. When you tell a story from your own life, you're standing on familiar ground. You know the details, the emotions, the outcome. You don't have to remember it, you lived it. That comfort removes pressure and helps your voice flow naturally. Your tone becomes more expressive. Your pacing becomes more engaging and your presence becomes more authentic. You stop performing and start sharing. Stories also build credibility without you ever needing to brag. If you tell people you're strong, they might doubt you. But if you tell a story about a moment that tested your strength, they feel it for themselves. Stories allow people to experience your message instead of just hearing it. When you speak, don't aim to impress, aim to connect. Facts inform, but stories transform. And when people are emotionally moved by your story, they will remember your message long after your words have finished. People often look at confident speakers and think, wow, they're just naturally gifted. But what they don't see is the hours, the repetitions, the practice sessions, and the unseen effort behind that confidence. Speaking confidently is not an accident, and it's definitely not a talent that only a chosen few are born with. It is a skill, one that is crafted, shaped, and strengthened through practice. You don't rise to the level of your expectations. You fall to the level of your preparation. And that preparation is the secret weapon that separates a shaky voice from a powerful one. Most people think practicing means reading your speech in your head a few times, maybe rehearsing once in front of a mirror and then hoping everything magically works out. But confidence doesn't grow from silent rehearsals. It grows from out loud practice. The moment you speak your words out loud, you hear your tone, you feel your pacing, you notice where you stumble, and you discover which lines don't feel natural. Speaking out loud exposes what needs work, but it also builds the muscle memory that makes your delivery smooth and effortless. Recording yourself is another powerful tool most people avoid because it feels uncomfortable. But discomfort is exactly where growth happens. When you watch or listen to yourself, you see things you couldn't notice while speaking: the unnecessary gestures, the rush sections, the moments where your voice drops or where your words lose energy. Instead of guessing, you begin improving based on real awareness. And every time you watch that recording again, you sound a little clearer, a little smoother, a little more confident. Practicing doesn't just refine your delivery, it calms your nerves. When you know your message deeply, you're no longer worried about forgetting your words or losing track. The foundation becomes solid. Even if you get interrupted or forget a line, you can continue because you understand the flow. Confidence is not the absence of mistakes, it's the ability to recover smoothly. Practice gives you that ability. Repetition also transforms fear into familiarity. The more you practice, the less intimidating speaking becomes. Your body learns the rhythm, your voice learns the tone, and your mind learns the structure. What once felt overwhelming becomes natural. Practice rewires your brain to move from anxiety to control. Great speakers aren't great because they practiced once they practiced constantly. They rehearsed when no one was watching. They refined their message over and over until their confidence felt effortless. And that's the key. Effortless confidence always comes from effort that no one saw. If you truly want to speak confidently anywhere, don't rely on talent, luck, or hoping the moment goes well. Rely on preparation. Every minute you practice adds strength to your voice, clarity to your message, and power to your presence. Confidence is not something reserved for a special group of people. It is a skill that grows through awareness, intention, and practice. When you understand that your presence enters before your voice does, you begin to shape how the world receives you long before you speak. By owning your posture, breathing with control, and entering a space with purpose, you create energy that commands attention effortlessly. Confidence begins quietly through the body, through the breath, and through the way you choose to show up. As you move deeper into the journey of confident speaking, you realize that fear is not your enemy, but your internal engine. Instead of waiting for nerves to disappear, you allow them to become fuel. You feel the adrenaline, you acknowledge the uncertainty, and you choose to step forward anyway. This shift from avoiding fear to managing it is what separates hesitant speakers from powerful ones. When your fear becomes energy, your voice becomes stronger, and your message becomes clearer. Connection is the heart of all communication. You don't speak to a room, you speak to individuals within that room. When you look into one pair of eyes and talk with sincerity, the entire audience feels spoken to. Add to that the courage to pause, to breathe, and to let silence shape your message. And suddenly your words carry a depth that people cannot ignore. Confidence is not loudness. It is precision, presence, and emotional impact. And above all, confidence is built through consistent effort. Every time you practice out loud, refine your stories, review your recordings, or adjust your delivery, you're strengthening. A skill that will serve you everywhere: interviews, meetings, relationships, presentations, and life itself. Confidence is not a moment, it is a habit. And when you master it, you don't just speak confidently anywhere, you live confidently everywhere. Thank you so much for staying with me through this powerful message. I appreciate your time, your attention, and your willingness to grow into a more confident version of yourself. If this speech inspired you, motivated you, or helped you understand communication in a new way, then my purpose is fulfilled. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more life-changing content. Your support means everything, and it helps this message reach more people who need it. Until the next video, stay confident, stay bold, and keep speaking your truth. Thank you and goodbye for now.